I forgot to do a couple things here. Also, happy Wednesday, hump day. You know what it is. It's hump day, right? Good time to get your hump on. Anyway, good morning. Hi. It's just another day, and apparently the walls are closing in on President Trump. If you didn't see it last night or saw it this morning on the Twitter machine, apparently the Attorney General of the state of New York, who is in a re-election bid, of course, has called on President Trump and two of his offspring to come and testify. They asked the court, they took court action compelling the former president, the guy with the funny hair, to testify in front of, I don't even know who, in front of a grand jury. I don't know. They asked him to come in and testify because of something that they think they have, because, you know, the walls are closing in. And that's what we're going to talk about first today. But we'll also go through some other stuff as soon as I fix my chat here. And y'all, I just, buckle in. We're going to talk a little bit about this thing that Leticia James, the Attorney General of New York, did, and some of the reactions to it, because some of the reactions are a little bit comical. So I'm gonna do that and more, and we'll get into some news and everything else we normally do on the show just 1 minute from now, after we play the intro. Johnny, play the intro, please. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Knight. And away we go. Stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as Dawg on the internet, and welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel. It is Wednesday, hump day, the 19th. It's the 19th of January, 2020. We're one day away from the 1-year anniversary of the peaceful transfer of power, and I think the president of the United States, the current president of the United States, is going to be doing a press conference. I just saw that he's doing he's actually going to do a press conference. Now look, when I see that the president, this current president at least, is going to do a press conference, I get into that line from the world famous song from Led Zeppelin. Ooh, it makes me wonder if he's going to take any real questions. Now, I saw a little blurb from The Hill. In fact, I'm going to look for The Hill here. Let me just look this up real quick. Because The Hill, there we go, The Hill. I follow The Hill on Twitter, and they had a little blurb here about this upcoming press conference. And I didn't get to read it, but I want to look at it here real quick, because they made note that the president, there's some questions about this upcoming press conference. Uh-oh, did they take it down? I'm scrolling a long way and I'm not seeing it. Wow. Oh, Madame Tussauds museum has unveiled new Biden and Harris figures. That's fascinating. Look at this. They got some wax figures. Oh wait, I gotta fix this. They got some wax figures of the hell did I just do? Oh, here we go. Where is it? I was just there. Here they are. They got some wax figures of the president and the first lady, which I'm pretty sure the brain function of the wax figures matches that of the president and the first lady, but I can't say anything mean like that. What am I doing? Come on, Marty. You know better than that. Anyway, so the president's actually going to do a press conference tomorrow, but every time he's done a press conference so far during his presidency, did they take this down? This is weird. 68% of the respondents said the country is going down the wrong path, while only 32% said the USA is heading the right direction. Wow, that's not good. That's a wrong track, right track voter poll that doesn't look too good for the president. Where is the one about his damn press conference? Did they take it down? Here it is. Here it is. This is the one I was looking for. So I saw this. It says some questions. Here are some questions Biden may face from reporters on Wednesday afternoon. That would be today. The press conference is today. So today, your challenge in the chat, and hopefully I'll be able to see them as I do the show today. The challenge in the chat, or especially if you do donations today, I want you to come up with questions. Questions the president may face from reporters today. Okay? Some questions that the president of the United States may face from reporters. Now, here's a caveat. Cannot be a question that you would hear from Steve. Is it Steve Doocy or Peter Doocy? Whichever Doocy's in the press corps, right? Only questions from the sycophant media. Come up with the best questions that you think the sycophant media will come up with for President Biden. Now, my question, even before they even take questions, though, is he going to remember which order to ask the questions in? Because they tell him which reporters that he's going to call on, and so he gets an idea what the questions. But I got a feeling he's going to get a few curveballs because he doesn't do a whole lot of press conferences, and to be honest with you, the press is a little annoyed with him because he doesn't take questions. So the fact that he's actually going to have here, let's look at this article real quick because I'm curious what they come up with here, though. So questions facing, here, let's make it so you can see it. Okay, hang on a second. All right, here we go. Questions facing Biden at his second solo White House presser. Now, he's doing it all by himself. He's going to be by himself. We're in the anniversary of him being inaugurated. He'll have a full year in office. President Biden on Wednesday will host just his second solo press conference from the White House since taking office, offering reporters a rare opportunity to press him on news of the day in such a format. The event comes as a precarious time for Biden's agenda, his Build Back Better Butthole program. I'm sorry, I added a word there, I think. And voting rights legislation are stalled. The coronavirus pandemic has persisted months after he gave what amounted to a victory lap speech, and his approval ratings have steadily declined over the past several months. Here are some questions he may face. Now, this is funny because questions he may face, I think they're giving him a list of questions that he will face. One of them is Build Back Better dead? Are you willing to urge Democrats to pass pieces of it rather than the whole proposal? Okay, and then they give you an answer that they want to, they give you a reason why that question will be in there. Here's another one. You have warned for several months that Republican laws like the one in Georgia represent an attack on democracy. Why then did you wait until last week to make a forceful push to alter the filibuster? And would you support reforming the Electoral Count Act if others' efforts fail? What? You want to change how we... Okay, wait a minute. Bipartisan lawmakers have opened the door to reforming the 1887 Electoral Count Act, which sets out how Congress counts electoral college votes that determines the winner of a presidential election. The White House dismissed the idea of reforming the law as a substitute for passing the other voting rights bills. Wow. Wonder whose idea with that. Okay. Oh, we got some questions? All right, let's check here. Let me see if do we have any questions yet? Mr. President, did you get an extra scoop of ice cream today, seeing as it is January 20th? That's a good one. That's a good one. Howard, first sponsor of the day. Well. Thank you, Howard, with the big bullet. And Howard, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar Sponsor of the Day, who says, sorry I've been gone for a sec. Life moves and job life. Wanted to say, keep it up, and I love your news reports and your sweet, sultry voice. No homo, though. Well, Howard, this sweet, sultry voice is for you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for sponsoring the show. Greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Oh, wait. You know what? Before I go through some of these questions. Oh, that was just done. Mr. President. Oh, did you get an extra scoop of ice cream? Let's say good morning. I didn't say good morning to everybody yet. Again, Howard, thank you so much. I appreciate you sponsoring the show. If you want to sponsor the show, you can go to PDawgKnight.live. Oops, here. Let me do this. You can see me do it. You can go to PDawgKnight.live right there, and you can watch the show, chat, and in the upper right-hand corner, if you want to throw in your 2 cents or 10 cents or a bullet or even $100, I'll take any of them. But and Susan won't take as much of your money. Or you can go to do SuperChats, or you can do a couple of options down below. By the way, hit the like button during the show and share the stream. Share the stream. Share the stream. Share the stream. Did I say share the stream yet? Did I say that? Share the stream. On your favorite social media. Let's help me grow this channel, please. Y'all are great people, but help me grow the channel. Many of you have been great about that, and I appreciate it. In fact, Maddie tweeted out the show all by herself this morning, and I appreciate it. By the way, Maddie, my heartfelt condolences. I heard about the deal with your dad today, and I hope, I hope your family heals, and you and I will talk sometime soon. Thank you, Mandy, for tweeting out the show. Will It Forge, Renee Mayette, Mitch the Ripper. Thank you all for tweeting out the show. All right. First in the chat today, though, was Advocatus Diablo, who gets the bell for being the first in the chat today. Thank you, sir, for being prompt and even earlier than me. Also, good morning, Tyra Alexander, who is second. Also, good morning, Selecta Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Welcome to the show. Richo, my friend from down under. Jesse Leon's in the house. Jeffrey Russell. Let's see. Y'all have been chatting up a storm. Maddie, of course. Good morning again. Will It Forge, Attack Alpaca. Also, good morning, Jeff. Oh, I said Jeffrey Russell Jr., I believe. If I didn't, I'm saying it again. Good morning, Aaron Meredith, Don Julio Gulf City Biker and Trash Man. DI Freighter Watcher, good morning. Also, hello to, am I missing anybody yet? Not quite. Y'all are very, very active today this morning. That's awesome. Mike Savage, Blarg. And I think that's everyone in the chat. And if you're just watching in the background, or you're lurking, working, driving, thriving, please keep your eyes on the road or your hands on the buttons. And good morning, Cool Frog and Joe Dirt. Good to have you all back. So anyway, we're talking about questions the president may take today, this afternoon press conference, roughly 1 year after he was inaugurated. And they seem to, it's funny because a lot of the questions are going to be, well, why don't you just destroy the filibuster? Why this one right here, why did you wait to take a forceful push to alter the filibuster? Well, why would you do a forceful push to alter the filibuster? Not 2 years ago, Joe Biden himself said that it is a bad idea to get rid of the filibuster. Now, I wonder why he would have said that 2 years ago. Oh, wait a minute, because he was the vice president. The Republicans were in charge of the Senate, and the people in the, or no, he wasn't the vice president 2 years, but he was around. It was when he was running for president, and the Republicans were in charge of the Senate. So of course they didn't want to get rid of the filibuster because that would take power away from the Democrats. But right now they want to take power away from Republicans to come up with this, this is crazy. For the People Act, and that's not, they like to name these laws things that sound really good, but it's really bad. It's a dumb idea, and taking federal power away from the state, taking voting power, voting how people vote away from the states, like it was intended in the Constitution, doesn't make sense. And these laws that they're so worried about, like in Georgia and the other states who are making voter ID laws or different laws or actual rules for the laws they put in place kind of on the fly without actually any legislative action, that are now actually putting them together using legislative action. All of a sudden, the Democrats are saying, oh no, you're restricting voting. You're you're suppressing the vote. Well, how are they suppressing the vote? They haven't shown any ways that any of these things, that the laws that they're coming up with, would actually suppress a vote. People who want to vote will vote within the confines of the law. You got to remember, we've been voting without any extra days to vote, without mailing in ballots, without, all the drop off and the absentee ballots since we began voting. Now, there were times when people tried to use some really scofflaw ways of not allowing people to vote that affected people of my demographic. But that's not what they're doing now, even though they claim that these laws are the new Jim Crow laws. Well, they're not. They're not. They're common sense voting measures that are done in most countries. In fact, this thing about having the mail-in voting or voter IDs. Well, first of all, we're one of the few countries in the world that doesn't require an ID to vote. Or that it's in a lot of places. Other countries already do that. Other countries already they don't have mailing voting. They don't have all kinds of things. It's well, you know what it is. They're just trying to create, not necessarily division. They're trying to create fear, and so it's just crazy. Have you ever? Oh, good morning, and Howard Welsh. Thank you. Good morning again. Have you considered voice acting? Your voice is great. I have actually. I once did an audition for a voiceover before I knew what I was doing, and that was a problem. Now that I've been doing this for over a year, I may do some auditions for some voiceover, commercials, things like that. And I have a lot of acting experience, so who knows? It is definitely a possibility. Thanks for asking. Anyway, so other questions they think will happen. What preventative measure? Oh, here's a question. Now, who wrote this real quick? This is from Brett Samuels, Alex Gangitano, and Morgan Chalfant. Have no idea who those people are. I don't recognize the names of the writers. Here's another question they think will come up. What preventative measures is your administration looking at in order to prevent another test shortage and other pandemic-related measures should another variant arise? What do you say to criticism that your administration is reacting instead of being more proactive 2 years into the pandemic? Okay, because this is something the Democrats want to know. And they talked about launching a new website and having 500 million tests distributed to Americans free of charge to maybe the people getting them, but not free of charge to your wallet because, taxes and shit. And announced to make 400 million non-surgical N95 masks from the national stockpile free to Americans. Now, remember how many Americans there are. There are 330 million roughly Americans, right? And they are announced that they will make 400 million non-surgical N95 masks from the national stockpile free to Americans. 330 million, 400 million masks. How long can you wear a mask? How often? How many? What's the longest you could probably stretch out wearing a mask without sanitizing it? Because those N95 masks, if you're going to use them again, you're supposed to sanitize them. I think using some kind of a steamer or something like that. I don't know how they do it. This is silly. I'm sorry. This is silly. That's all I got to say. Oh, my creepypasta channel. Yeah, I love doing creepypastas, but I just don't know. So I suppose I should. I always wonder if I get in trouble for reading other people's stories. You know what I mean? I love reading creepypasta, but I did a couple of those. Maybe I should do some more of those. They're not that hard to do. Although the other part of doing creepypasta videos is that I really want to make them really good, and because when you're just reading something, you have to come up with imagery for what you're reading, or at least you want to, or at least sound effects. By the way, if you didn't know, I had a creepypasta channel. Let's see, I can't even remember the name of it. Hang on, let me figure out if I can remember the name of it. I don't even know the name of my own creepypasta channel. Isn't that scary? It's I think it's Creepy Dawg Productions. It's called, Creepy Dawg Productions, DAWG, Creepy Dawg Productions. And so I have a few on there that I've done, but I haven't done an extensive number of creepypastas. They're fun to do. I like doing them, and it's just, I think I have a good voice for that kind of thing, but so does everyone thinks they have a good voice for that kind of thing. Not everyone does. I've seen some creepypasta channels where maybe it takes a lot more acting experience than you think to be able to do those in a way that doesn't just sound monotonous. So I don't know. Oh, you're writing short stories on your geek blog? Hey, we can talk about that, Maddie. I would love to do that, and we can do some collabs on that kind of stuff. So you and I will talk. Fantastic. All right, let me get back to what I was doing here though, because other questions that President Biden may come up against. Have you been satisfied with the messaging coming from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention? Can your administration improve the way it communicates about the pandemic to the American people? I wonder if these are actually going to be the questions, because you know how, at least at prior press conferences, the president had a list of people he's supposed to call on, and they kind of have prepared him for the questions. And the only time it gets contentious is when that Ducey guy, I think it's Peter Ducey, right? He's the younger one, asks questions because he throws, Biden off guard, and then Biden has his little sundowner moment where he gets really angry and starts, pointing his finger and shit like that. But as far as the messaging from the Centers for Disease Control, you mean the very inconsistent messages? You know what I mean? Or when your director says that, well, we know that these cloth masks really don't do shit. You need to have N95 masks. Oh, you mean you've known that all along? Anyway, I better not too much talk about COVID because I can get banned. Let's see. Here's another one. You and your advisors have predicted that inflation will be transitory, but with the cost of food, housing, and other essential goods rising, how can you assure Americans that your administration is focused on addressing surging inflation? His answer? We're not focused on rising inflation. We don't care. Yes, that'll be his answer. Anyway, and then let's see. Last week, the Supreme Court struck down your sweeping vaccine or test mandate for large private businesses. Will that be the end of your efforts to mandate vaccines, or more actions on the table? You know what that question says? It says that some people demand you take action. FTG. You recently called the January... Oh, here's one. You recently called the January 6th attack on the Capitol an insurrection and an attempted coup. Do you believe the Justice Department should prosecute former President Trump for his role in the January 6th riot? Well, that's an interesting question because what specifically do you think his role was for it? And how would you prosecute him? Under what law? So Biden is adamant that he wants to keep his Justice Department independent and free from political influence, but that has not stopped him from weighing in on proceedings around the January 6th Capitol riot. One of the major outstanding questions is whether former President Trump will face charges for his role in the riot, specifically for his weeks of false claims that preceded it and his speech urging supporters to march over to the Capitol. What would that... I'm sorry, what law would you have that would have him be charged for that? Even if he said, he specifically said march over and protest peacefully, but what would you charge him with? Did he tell them to riot? Did he tell them to break windows and enter the congressional building? Because people who did do that haven't been charged. So how would you charge the president for that? I'm just curious. Hello, Busters Outlaws, by the way. Can you commit unequivocally to running for re-election? And will Vice President Harris be your running mate? If you can't commit unequivocally, okay, you know what? Why would this be a question to President Biden after his first year in office? Who can unequivocally commit to running for president 3 years from now in his first year of office? What a stupid even thought. And will President Harris be your running mate? I don't know. I don't know if I'm running, let alone who my running mate is going to be. Good morning, John Magda. And if you can't commit unequivocally, who do you think should be the nominee if circumstances ultimately cause you to decide against running? Boy, they are shook by the fact that Trump is still having rallies and going whole hog at looking like he's going to run again. And there's also people in the wings on the Republican side. Ron DeSantis is one I think of off the top of my head. But there's others. I'm sure if President Trump doesn't run again, you might see Nikki Haley jump to the race. You might see there's several people who could jump into the race. But I think DeSantis might be a favorite. Although now there seems to be a little, I don't know if it's a tiff between him and DeSantis, but DeSantis is, Donald Trump is calling DeSantis dull. Now, personally, I wouldn't mind a bit of dull if they're competent and can still do the same policies as the former president with the funny hair. Now, I have nothing against the president with the funny hair. I think he is policy-wise, he was spot on. I wasn't a fan of his style, but that's just, that's whatever. If you're getting shit done, you can lose style points with me. I don't care. But Richo, think they will get desperate and try Michelle Obama? I don't think, yes, I saw that you wrote Michael, by the way. I don't think Michelle Obama wants to run. And I don't think she wants to be president. I don't think she wants to be, first of all, what are her qualifications for running other than being a wife of the president? She's never run for anything. She's never run anything. She was she worked as a lawyer for a while, and then she worked as the First Lady Barack Obama's wife. And that's about it. What qualifies her to be president of the United States other than a cult of personality? Just saying. So I think not, but hey, never say never. Oh, here's one. Your press secretary, Jen Psaki, said Tuesday that Russia could launch an attack on Ukraine at any point. What is your administration going to do to punish Russia if it does so? Are you going to do everything you can to try to force Russia to pull troops back from the border with Ukraine? You know what's hilarious? No, it's not hilarious. It's a little bit sad. Isn't it weird that the puppet of Putin, Donald Trump, the president with the funny hair, I said the puppet of Putin, but he was considered to be a puppet of Putin, right? Whatever Putin wanted, Donald Trump was on board. He was put into office by Putin and owed Putin whatever. Isn't it strange that the former president, the guy with the funny hair, is the one who prevented Russia from making billions of dollars through that little pipeline on its way to Germany, right? Remember, the Trump administration kind of prevented that, right? And also, the former president, the guy with the funny hair, also provided Ukraine with anti-tank missiles and all kinds of weaponry. And the Russians really didn't test the United States resolve while the guy with the funny hair was president, right? Now, all of a sudden, then we have Sundowner Joe as president. Pipeline to Russia, from Russia, the oil pipeline from the Nord, you know, the Nord, that from going to Germany, that's suddenly flowing freely, right? And also, all of a sudden, the Russians are kind of testing NATO. You know, they did that thing with Crimea while Obama was in office, right? And then they stopped because Trump was in office, and, you know, the guy with the funny hair, they probably thought he was crazy anyway. And now all of a sudden, the guy with the funny hair is gone, and we got the Obama 2.0 administration. And all of a sudden, we are testing NATO by making kind of some overtly aggressive moves towards Ukraine. Who's Putin's puppet? I don't think they're going to do shit if Russia launches an attack on Ukraine. I don't think they're doing shit. It's a good question, though. All right, so those are the questions they thought were going to come up. All right, now let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's show, because the walls are closing in on President Trump. Again, the walls are closing in. By the way, thank you, Malice Ruling Underland. Appreciate the retweet of the show this morning. I'm not sure who that is. Malice, are you in the chat? I'm just curious. I hope you are. By the way, again, I'm going to remind you, please hit the like button if you're here and you like what we're doing, and you can share the stream like Malice did, or Maddie, or Mitch, or Will It Forge, or who is this? Who's Mr. Adam? I don't even know who Mr. Adam is. Will It Forge and Renee Mayette. Thank you all for sharing the show. Everyone share the show. Oh, good morning, Legit Low Talker. I see you. I see you there. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the show today, because the main topic today was something I saw on Twitter this morning. I often get a bunch of my news from Twitter. And today, the Attorney General of the state of New York, had a big announcement last night. She is now seeking testimony from former President Trump. Big announcement. New York Attorney General seeks testimony from Donald Trump and family members after finding, quote, significant evidence of financial fraud. Uh-oh. Now, we'll get into why she may have announced this on Twitter and made a little big old thread on it on Twitter. New York Attorney General Leticia James on Tuesday announced that her office has found significant evidence that the Trump organization used fraudulent and misleading asset valuations to obtain economic benefits for years. James added that her office has taken legal action to force the former president and his children, Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, to comply with the investigation into the Trump organization's financial dealings. The allegations were presented in a court filing on Tuesday, where the court was asked to enforce the subpoena to obtain the testimony of the Trumps. Now, there's some people out there who are just celebrating. Oh, you go get him, girl. You get him, girl. Da, 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 da. Now, let's remind you, this is hilarious to me, because I'm reading this and some thoughts popped into my head. I mean, thoughts, not thoughts. Thank you. And I have a rebuttal, but I want to read to you her tweet thread first, because it pretty much, although it mirrors what this says, it says a few other things that are not included here. What is this significant evidence? He filled out a form? Yes, that's probably it. And I'm going to tell you why this doesn't even make sense in a minute after we read her thread here. Hang on a second. Let me double check this. I got a couple of notifications. Let me double check just to make sure it's not something that I missed. No, let's see. Oh, thank you, Johnny Hellcat, for tweeting out the show. and Cool Frog. Appreciate that very much. Okay. let's get into her tweet thread here. I'm gonna when I put the, well, let's do it here. Let's do it this way. Do I have her? I'm gonna do hers as a separate thread. Hang on a second here. We'll do this, copy link, and we'll start it right here so that you can have both pages open if you open this up. But you don't have to be on Twitter to read these, so I will have the links in the thread so you can read them. Here's the thread from Leticia James, who, now remember, let's remind you something about Leticia James, the Attorney General of the state of New York. She ran her first campaign, it was 3 years ago, whatever, when she ran last time. She ran her campaign basically saying that she was going to put Donald Trump in jail. She was going to prosecute Donald Trump. She didn't know what she was going to prosecute Donald Trump for, but she knew that she was going to find a way to prosecute Donald Trump and put him in jail, because that's what she needed to do, because Donald Trump was a menace to society and has done nothing good in his life, and he's going to put her in jail. Yes, oh, Jeffrey Russell, you are... Jeffrey Russell, you are foreshadowing what I was going to say there. Yes, it's also civil, not criminal. Yes, it is civil. But anyway, although I think there might be some way to make a criminal penalty out of some of this. Well, look, here's the thing. One of the words she used is fraudulent and misleading asset valuations. Fraud is a foreshadowing to a criminal charge, which is, again, this is fascinating. Well, first of all, plus the fact that she decided to, she's putting this out in the court of public opinion, and some of the public opinion people out there have, just like the barking seals that they seem to be, have much obliged and decided to blast this all over the internet, that, oh no, significant evidence of financial fraud. Well, let's read her thread and see what she comes up with. The walls are what? Oh, come on. Okay, check your logic. Good morning and welcome to the show. Will somebody please finish the sentence for Check Your Logic? Because the name of the stream is The Walls Are ... Who can finish that sentence? First to finish the sentence in the chat can get the bell. By the way, I do have my cup of reparations that I am enjoying very well. The walls are, finish that sentence in the chat. All right, here's Leticia James. Here's Leticia James' thread. We are taking legal action to force Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump to comply with our investigation into the Trump Organization's financial dealing. No one in this country can pick and choose if and how the law applies to them. Thank you, Jeffrey Russell. You get the bell. Congratulations. You win, Jeffrey Russell. Although, D.I. Freighter Watcher, you had the sentence sort of the slowest closing walls ever. So I think, you know what, D.I. Freighter Watcher, you also get the prize. She continues, we have uncovered significant evidence indicating that the Trump Organization used fraudulent and misleading asset valuations on multiple properties to obtain economic benefit, including I'm sorry. David McDowell, by the way, good morning to you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so why am I laughing? Because I just saw what David McDowell put in the chat. And what is closing in? My sugar walls. If any of you have no idea what that is, well, you're too young. Look up Sheena Easton, Sugar Walls. That is a song from the late 80s, I believe, maybe the early 90s. I don't know. Whenever Sheena Easton went from a prim and proper country singer to just one of Prince's hoes. Anyway, so that's hilarious. Okay. Let me just go back to this. We have uncovered significant evidence indicating that Trump Organization used fraudulent and misleading assets. Again, fraudulent fraud is a legal term that is generally a criminal activity. She's using words that maybe or maybe not she should not be using here, but we'll see. I'll get into that in a minute. To obtain economic benefits, including loans, insurance coverage, and tax deductions for years. Okay. Think about what I just said there. Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump have all been closely involved in the transactions in question. So we won't tolerate their attempts to evade testifying in this investigation. Oh, hang on. Why did this? Oh, I see, because I'm looking at the wrong one. Let me put this one here. We will not be deterred in our efforts to continue this investigation, uncover the facts, and pursue justice. No matter how many roadblocks Mr. Trump and his family throw our way, no one is above the law. Hello, John Migda. How you doing? And I don't know if I missed anybody, but if I did, good morning to you. Now, this is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Now, one of the first things under here that makes a good point. So you're announcing this on Twitter before bringing actual charges because makes me wonder if you're really serious about this or not, because it seems like a very amateurish way of conducting serious business. And the person replied to that, agreed. This seems like a play for political points with regard to her future political ambitions. Well, it is an election year, by the way, for the Attorney General. It's kind of a move that resonates with the reactionary pitchfork and torches crowd, but not the sentient folks who want to see no chance of a hung jury because of posts like this. Oh, see, this person wants Donald Trump charged with something, but this could hinder their great wishes of the walls closing in. But wait a minute. A jury? Are these the type of charges that would be required of a jury? Anyway, and then of course there's, what is this? Okay, that's something, this is totally something else about Dan Rather. So anyway, as I'm reading this, by the way, oh, good morning, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. Nice to see you. So let me think about this, okay? So again, she's saying that uncovered significant evidence that the Trump organization used fraudulent and misleading asset valuation on multiple properties to obtain economic benefit, okay? So here's my issue with this silliness, okay? Obviously, there's a ploy by the Attorney General of New York to raise her profile in an election year, right? She ran on getting Trump, just like, that was basically her campaign, and she got elected. And they've been attempting to, find evidence that he did some wrongdoing, right? So what's fascinating about this, first, if you take grandstanding moves in public for any case, and I wrote this in a tweet thread, so I'm kind of using my own tweet thread as notes for this. First of all, taking grandstanding moves in public for any case is risky, right? But in an election year, maybe this is a good move for Attorney General James, because enough people in New York, they live for this, we're going to get Trump shit, right? But there is a slight problem here. She's saying that they used asset valuation to get loans, taxes, and insurance, right? Now, I was in this business. I used to write loans for real estate. Okay, so we'll just go with that. Asset valuation is not the responsibility of the person holding the asset. When it comes to taxation, when it comes to taxation, for insurance purposes, or for loans. Okay. Anyone who owns a property should know you cannot just tell a lender how much your property is worth, and then they'll just give you money based on what you tell them, right? The responsibility for due diligence is on the lender. The lender sends out their own appraisers. They go through, if it's for example, let's say Trump Tower, they go through and talk about what kind of rent you're getting. They go through a commercial property asset evaluation. Can be hundreds and hundreds of pages long, using all kinds of formula to tell you what that property is worth, what kind of income it makes, what kind of business, regularity of profit and loss is. It's a business appraisal. It is the responsibility of the lender to protect themselves. The due diligence is on them. They can't. Donald Trump and Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr. can come into their office and say, well, you know what? Our building is worth $300 billion. Okay, so loan us $5 billion. The loan to value would be less than 2%, less than 1%. No, that's not how it works. The lender says, okay, you say your building's worth $300 billion. Well, let us send our appraisers and we're going to get you 3 different appraisals, and we're going to average them out and say, okay, is this a good investment for us as a lender? And then the possibility of we're going to check your credit. We're going to see if your possibility of paying us back, or if the asset is worth enough and you don't pay us back, we can take the asset and still not lose money on this deal. The due diligence is the responsibility of the lender. Now, let's go for tax purposes. Okay? Same goes for tax liability. The state or the city determines the value for the purpose of taxes, and that value is often lower than the evaluation for lending purposes. In some cases, that's because states or cities have a limit on year-to-year increases that they can count your property value for tax purposes. I doubt that's in New York because they love taxes, but the cities, it's the due diligence of the city. If you went down to the assessor's office and said, well, we just told the lender our property's worth $300 billion. Our property here is worth $500,000. Does the tax department of your state or city say, oh, it's worth $500? Well, thank you. We will charge you taxes based on what you told us. That's not how it works. The tax department, the state, has a valuation on your property. And so does the insurance people. If you have a property that you are going to insure and they offer to insure it, and you just go in there and tell them, well, you know what? It's worth $300 billion, right? It is the responsibility of the insurance company to go in and do the due diligence. Now, insurance is a little bit different, though, because insurance has to kind of determine what the actual replacement cost of your building is, and they try to determine how your insurance rates are going to go based on that. So in this case, all 3 entities may have a way of valuing your property. All 3 may come up with different numbers, because the sale value, the real estate market value, versus the tax value versus the insuring value can all be 3 different things. So it's really difficult. So in the end, all 4 entities, the property owner, the lender, the state, and the insurance company, can feasibly and will likely come up with different valuations for a property. However, of those 4, there's only one of those entities whose opinion doesn't really matter at all in any of these transactions. And you know who that is? The owner of the property. The owner of the property, their their assessment of what their property value is means nothing. So, what exactly is Leticia James after here? Is she after something that the Trumps did? Or is she just after headlines? Think about that. Now, as I'm looking at this, as I go through the thread on, or at least the Twitter, this is a Twitter trending moment, right? A Twitter trending topic. So they had this little header here, excuse me, that I showed you earlier. Well, under that, they'll show you all the news organizations, or at least some of the news organizations that are reporting on this. And of course, one of them, right off the bat, so here's her thread, and they got her in this. Right under here, oh, of course, NBC News, because you know how NBC loves Donald Trump. So then there's this Tom Winter from NBC News. And you know what I should do? I should, let's see, where's my thread? I had it here somewhere. Hang on. In fact, here it is. I'm going to put this, I'll have this one here too as you do it. But I'm going to reply to this guy with my thread because it doesn't really make sense. And I'm going to just, let me put that in here. Anyway, so anyway, the NBC News obviously has taken this up. Former President Donald. Now, and let's listen to how they phrase what's happening here. Former President Donald Trump Jr., and Ivanka Trump are all alleged to have been involved in either overseeing or arranging financial misstatements to financial aid insurance institutions, says New York Attorney General in a court filing docketed tonight. So, arranging financial misstatements to financial and insurance institutions. Again, who has the due diligence in any transaction between a property owner and any financial institution or insurance entity? Those other entities, not the owner of the property. The due diligence is the responsibility of the financial and insurance institutions. Let's see. How did he continue this thread? I don't even know. Okay, then he just reiterates the evidence. It pretty much cut and paste. Oh, evidence indicates that the Trump Organization also submitted fraudulent or misleading valuations to the Internal Revenue Service, specifically related to Trump National Golf Club, Los Angeles, and Seven Springs. Okay, here's the thing. New York Attorney General Leticia James, that's not her jurisdiction. The allegations were contained in a court filing in the civil and not criminal case, asking the court to enforce the subpoenas to obtain testimony of former President Donald Trump, Don Jr., and Ivanka Trump. So, because I saw this earlier. Someone was talking about, well, they made a big deal or they said something about, yeah, they wanted to look into Donald Trump's loans, or Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka's loans on their properties in Florida. Again, the Attorney General of New York has no jurisdiction. Even if the financial institutions are based in New York, they're doing business in Florida. That is the purview of the Florida laws because they're doing business under Florida law, not under New York law. Let's see. Now someone quoting Michael Cohen, I pled guilty in federal court to felonies for the benefit and the direction and at the direction of and in coordination of individual one, Donald Trump, reading for his prepared statement. For the record, individual one is Donald Trump. Irrelevant. Financial papers have been available for years. New York Times did a whole expose in 2018. This is not news. The only question is why the AG of New York have been dragging their heels when the paperwork showing the fraud is already in public. Because, again, the due diligence is the responsibility of the government. So if anything comes of this, in a civil case, what's the worst thing that can happen to Donald Trump? He might have to pay some fines. But why? Again, it's not the asset holder's responsibility for the due diligence. It's kind of amazing to me that she's doing this. But maybe she has something, but also the fact that she's doing it in states that are not the state of New York, certainly not her jurisdiction. Harry Litman, who is Harry Litman here? LA Times filed a motion to compel Trump and blah, blah, blah to appear. Trump to produce docs opposing each of their motions to quash. James says they've collected significant additional evidence that Trump organization used fraudulent or misleading asset valuations. Again, asset valuations are not the responsibility of the asset holder for financial transactions. The due diligence is of the people who are the financial institutions. Tyre, please explain to me how this isn't corruption on the attorney's part. How isn't this even being entertained? I don't know. This is just targeted harassment at the Trumps. But again, here's Rolling Stone, like barking seals. They're here. New evidence shows Trump personally implicated in potential fraud. Fraud's a criminal matter. She uses criminal terminology for a civil matter, so she wants to go further into a criminal matter. Apparently, I might even look at these document findings, but again, I'm really confused. Here's somebody. In 2015 and 2016, Trump boosted his balance sheet by tripling the size of his Trump Tower penthouse and overinflating its value by $200 million. After he was elected president, he reported the correct value. Okay. So they've got, I'll have to go read the filing, but again, who is he doing this for? And let's see, found instances where Donald Trump Jr. provided misleading financial statements to institutions that the ex-president had ultimate authority over a wide swath of the organization's conduct. Again, whose responsibility is it to have correct valuations? Again, I can say that my little abode here is worth $10 million. And I can go to a bank and say, you know what? I got a $10 million property that I'm living in. Will you loan me $1 million? 10% or 10% loan to value. That sounds like a pretty good deal. Mr. Marty, we're going to do an appraisal of your property before we loan you any money. Oh, okay. Well, it's worth $10 million. Well, we're going to do an appraisal first. You sure you just don't want to loan me the $10 million? You know what? You seem like a nice guy. Let's just loan you the $1 million. Is that how it works? I don't think so. So seems to me that is a very, 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 very tough road to hoe. Good luck. All right, let's move on because the hours are waning. Now, I just saw this. Apparently, Don Lemon had some heated words for somebody in Congress. Because we're getting this. We're getting a lot of. So they're talking about this For the People Act, right? They want to make this new federal law for voting, right? And so some people aren't going along with it, but they had the audacity to say good things about Dr. Martin Luther King, even though they're not going along with this law that the Democrats want to push through. And they want to be as divisive as possible. They want to push it through because reasons, right? Because they say that they're trying to suppress the will of black voters to vote anymore. These new laws are the new Jim Crow. Black people will not be allowed to vote. They're going to put you all back in chains. President Biden said. So anyway, this is Don Lemon's trending today because of this little clip here. So we're gonna watch it. Hang on. Here it is. So we're gonna watch Don Lemon. Because we should watch Don Lemon while we still can. Not that most people choose to, but we're gonna. Why is that so messed up? Hang on a second. What happened here? All right, so we're gonna watch Don Lemonhead. And we'll see what he said here. He said some nasty things to somebody, and so he's trending because of his choice language and his speaking truth to power. Even though Don Lemon makes about $20 million a year.
Inevitably, you get the politicians, especially the ones in Washington now, who are blocking the people's access to the voting booth. And
Whoa. Blocking their what? You have people in Washington doing what?
The people's access to the voting booth. And
blocking people's access to the voting booth? Where? Where are they doing that? I don't know. Don Stinkfingers Lemon. Yeah, that guy.
They want to use Dr. King conveniently. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet.
How are they? But wait, Don, you need to step back a little bit. How are they blocking people's access to the voting booth? I'm pretty sure he's not going to explain that.
Because if Sinema and Manchin really want to honor the legacy of Dr. King and all of the people who fought for civil rights and voting rights in this country, what they would do is do a carve-out for voting rights with the filibuster.
Is that true? Is that the only way? You cannot, you have to do what, must comply with what the Democrats want, or you're not allowed. You're not allowed to talk about Dr. King. That's interesting.
That's what they would do. But for some reason, they are mired in tradition and they are stuck with these rules that are backwards. And
wow, the rules are backwards. Don Lemon, I want to know if you said this a year ago. Well, not a year ago. Well, a year ago. Well, yeah, a year ago, because it's still the 19th when the guy with the funny hair was still president. And because the Senate changed over the 5th. So let's say a year and a month ago. Don Lemon, were you talking about these backwards rules a year and a month ago when Chuck Schumer was using the filibuster pretty much at will? 300 times, 312 times, 315 times during the Trump administration. Were you complaining about the backwards rules when your politician that you wanted him, because you didn't like what the Republicans were doing and they were in charge and they were going to pass his stuff and Chuck Schumer used the filibuster 315 times. Were you complaining about this backwards rule then? I doubt it. I really doubt it. If you have a clip of Don Lemon criticizing the filibuster any time that Republicans had a majority in the Senate, I'll give you $500 if you have one, because I doubt if he did it. I'm pretty comfortable in that bet.
And as the former president said at John Lewis's memorial service, these are relics of Jim Crow. The filibuster has been used to block civil rights legislation.
Wait, I see. He was talking about Barack Obama. Relics of Jim Crow. Really? Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. I need to do a quick fact check. Obama? Filibuster. Oh, well, here's one. Popped up. Obama filibuster 2005. Here's Barack Obama talking about the filibuster. in 2005. Let's see if there's just a clip here. Let's see what this says. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the wrong one. This is Biden saying it's a relic of Jim Crow. Obama filibuster 2005. Obama. Filibuster. Obama defended the filibuster in 2005. President Barack Obama, whose comments about the filibuster being an outdated practice reminiscent of the Jim Crow era were echoed by President Biden on Thursday, but he once gave a speech on the Senate floor in favor of keeping the procedural process. In 2005, then Senator Obama delivered a speech arguing against the... Oh, here it is, right here. Here it is. This is Obama in 2005.
But the American people sent us here to be their voice. They understand that those voices can at times become loud and argumentative, but they also hope that we can
Veteran
disagree
homeowners.
without...
Whoa, hang on.
More cash,
and at the end of
more
the day, they
savings, and
expect
more
both
financial
parties
peace
to
of
work
mind.
together
New Day can help
to
you
get the
get it
people's
with the
business
New Day
done.
100
Shut up.
VA cash out.
What they don't expect is for...
Here we go again. Sorry. All right, back to the former president.
They also hope that we can disagree without being disagreeable. And at the end of the day, they expect both parties to work together to get the people's business done. What they don't expect is for one party, be it Republican or Democrat, to change the rules in the middle of the game so that they can make all the decisions while the other party is told to sit down and keep quiet.
This is a based Obama.
The American people want less partisanship in this town, but everyone in this chamber knows that if the majority chooses to end the filibuster, if they choose to change the rules and put an end to democratic debate, then the fighting and the bitterness and the gridlock will only get worse.
Yes.
Now, I understand that Republicans are getting a lot of pressure to do this.
Wait,
from
Republicans?
factions outside the chamber.
Outside the chamber.
We need to rise above the ends justify the means mentality because we're here to answer to the people, all of the people, not just the ones that are wearing our particular party label.
Yes, Obama. Damn, that's some base shit he said right there, isn't it? So, where was I here? I lost my place. Okay, we're back to Don Lemon, though. Oh, watch again. I didn't finish watching it the first time. Hang on. Let's put it
Inevitably.
back on.
You get the politicians, especially the ones in Washington
All right,
now,
so,
who are blocking we have as Americans, and that is the right to vote.
Democrats are
Protect the most sacred. Doesn't mean that rule can't change. The Constitution is amended, so it's time to
Okay, if you want to amend the Constitution, go for it. Try to amend the Constitution. Gotcha. But what is he talking about?
the rules, and fight and protect the most sacred right that we have as Americans, and that is the right to vote.
Who isn't going to have the right to vote after this? I haven't figured that out. Who isn't going to have the right to vote?
Democrats are going to force them to, it seems, vote on that rule change. And as of now, they've said, nope, we're not going to do it. Does it mean anything to you that they will have to be on the record?
Yes,
as
it
saying
does.
That?
It does. And I have the quote. I read this last night on my show, and it's a quote from Dr. King from the Birmingham jail, and it's from 1963, and it could be today. And he says, I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in the stride to freedom is not toward freedom is not the White Citizens Council or the Ku Klux Klan.
It's funny how CNN was already with that quote there. Like he just did. Like it sounded like he just I just happened to have it with me, but then they already had it sitting up here. So this was planned out. This was not just spontaneous by Don Lemon.
But the white moderate who is more devoted to order, than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice.
They just happen to have
constantly
that.
says, I agree with you in the goal that you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods or direct action, who paternalistically believes that he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises a Negro to wait for a more convenient season.
Okay, why does that not apply here? Why does that not apply here? Because This is not about people's right to vote. It's about power. It has nothing to do, because no one's losing a right to vote. No one's even going to be inconvenienced by this, because the laws that they're doing in Georgia, for example, are codifying something that they did against their own laws in the last election because of the stupid 19. So now they're codifying them and actually making rules for some of the things that they did to accommodate people during the stupid 19. Now, and then of course this ID thing that they seem to be really hung up on. People who vote probably already have IDs. People who want to vote, most people have IDs. In fact, the very few people that might not have an ID for whatever reason and wants to vote, they have provisions to help those people get the proper ID to vote. The idea that you can't figure out how to get an ID 9 months before an election, you get 9 months to take care of that if you really want to vote. You have right now it's 9 months. In some cases, let's say you only vote in presidential elections, you've got 2 years and 9 months. If you only vote in presidential elections, because that's when the federal elections are, okay? Not the state elections. The next state election in every state, if they have a state election coming up statewide, is 9 months, okay? The idea that someone isn't able to get an ID in 9 months in states where they give you provisions to find a way to get a free ID if you don't have one. Of course, wait a minute. Are the people who don't have IDs, are they likely to vote? How would you even know that they wouldn't be able to vote? Because they don't have an ID. They can't even prove where they are. Oh, just crazy. Anyway.
That sounds like the moderates, right? Not now. We can't change the rules, because the rules are tradition.
No, the rules protect your party when they are not in power. That's what the rules do. And a couple people have the foresight to realize that. Because they're not going to be in power for long. They're not always going to be in power. So the rules, again, protect the party who's not in the majority. But you know what? Hey, you know what I say? Go for it. End the filibuster right now. End the filibuster. Pass your little For the People Act. You know, even with the Poor People Act, even with mail-in voting, you know, these people that don't necessarily vote in off-year elections unless president. You think that's going to save the Democrats from losing the majority in the House and the Senate? Doubt it. They're not people, aren't the people, the For the People, those people in the For the People Act. They're not too happy with y'all right now. So I say go for it. Let's see. Let's see how that works out for you. But, you know, it's just me. Hello, Snoopy. Hello, Captain Brambles. Nice to have you here. But, Don's not done, though, because I think he says some nasty words or something.
Block people from the voting. And you're supposed to be a Democrat who espouses to the ideals of Dr. King. That's BS. Sorry, it's in the morning. I can say that at night.
Yeah, he said bullshit. Got him. That's why Don Lemon's is trending, because he said that's bullshit. Hey, I can say bullshit in the morning whenever I want to. Now, most of the time I choose not to, but that's why Don Lemon's trending this morning. Look, the idea that people are losing their vote because of something some state houses are doing, they're not. They're not. In fact, again, Georgia's the one they're really, really worried about. And in Georgia, even with the new laws, their laws are far more lenient than it would take to vote in Delaware, the home of the current former vice president of the United States. So anyway, that's why Don's trending. I have this up twice. All right. let me see. What else do I have? I don't have a whole lot of other stuff. I'm running out of time here. Oh, this is interesting. I just saw this. I'll leave the article up and I won't let you can check it out on your own. But National Pulse has an article up saying that there's a new video. Why is this messed up? Why is this messed up? I don't know why this is. Hang on. Let me make this a little smaller. Move it this way a little bit. There we go. Anyway, there's new video analysis showing that Ashley Babbitt was chatting with Capitol police officers and attempted to calm protesters before she was shot. Now they say executed. That's a charged word. You can say whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to say before she was killed by an officer. New video analysis claims that Ashley Babbitt, the U.S. veteran executed by Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd, was attempting to defuse the situation between rioters destroying the doors leading to the Speaker's lobby at the Capitol on January 6th and the police guarding them. Babbitt even went so far as to step between one of the men around her and the police before being... They keep saying being executed. I say being shot, whatever you want to do. Stacey Abrams still thinks she's governor. That's true. Hello, Joe John. Nice to meet you, by the way. Welcome to the show. The claims run contrary to the corporate media narrative of Babbitt and the events of January 6th, including recent smears against her character on the one-year anniversary of the FBI Lynch riot. News outlets have consistently portrayed Babbitt as a violent insurrectionist who was trying to break through the door. Instead, we're told that after a long time being trapped in the small area with increasingly violent conflict around her, she sought an exit through the window. Okay, here's the video. Let's see if we're gonna watch what's in the video. Here's the thing. She did attempt to go through the window, and she was shot by a police officer. I don't think she should have been shot, but probably from a legal standpoint, I'm sure there's some way they found a way to justify it. Oh, here we go. Thanks, Tyre Alexander. By the way, thanks for sponsoring the show. Appreciate you. Who says, that is how I feel about mandates. You guys are all for that shit now because your guys in power, but that shit won't last forever. You've already opened this Pandora's box, and now it's a sword everyone can wield. The pendulum always swings back. Oh, absolutely. That's how we got Justice Gorsuch. That's how we got Trump getting 3 Supreme Court picks instead of 2, because they were playing. They Democrats fucked around and found out. Okay, so but oh my God, think about the bullet that we dodged though. With Merrick Garland, could you imagine him as a Supreme Court justice? Just some of the stuff that he's been doing. Holy shit. Anyway. So here's, this is on Zero Hedge. Here's their article. Frame by frame video evidence analyzed by Epoch Times paints a vastly different picture of Babbitt's actions than the portrayed media accounts. The video appears to show she tried to prevent the attack, not join it. Okay, so here's what they say. And this is the video shot by John Sullivan, the Antifa guy or FBI plant or whatever he is. We don't know about John Sullivan because he didn't get charged at first. They eventually charged him, but it seems like they're going pretty lenient on him, especially when he was the one who said, burn this shit down. Anyway, his video shows that Babbitt tried to stop the violence against the Speaker's lobby at least 4 times before she climbed into a broken window and was shot by U.S. Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd. At one point, she was so distressed at the violence, she was jumping up and down in frustration. The reality of it is Ashley wasn't a violent person. She was a good person, but they've demonized her to become this domestic terrorist that she's never has been. Taylor Hansen, an independent journalist who was feet away from Babbitt when she was shot, told the Epoch Times. She served her country 14 years. Okay, again, I'm going to take this all with a grain of salt. I mean, it's very possible this is true, but I'm just reading what their report is. And someone who served their country 14 years can still end up doing bad things once they get home. I'm not saying that she did or didn't, but I wanted you to take this all with a grain of salt on how this is written. and like I said, I'm not saying it's wrong. I just want to make sure that I'm clarifying that I'm reading their words. I would classify someone getting shot in the back of the head, making no aggressive move toward the police officer as an execution. I agree with that. But I personally haven't followed this closely enough. So I'm still, now I'm going to investigate it more because I haven't listened to it. So anyway, that doesn't say anything that can actually get away with pushing this narrative. Hansen said he was walking behind Babbitt in a hallway on the second floor of the Capitol at about 2:40 p.m. She turned right down to the speaker's lobby hallway. Hansen followed. We didn't know anything about the building we were in. She turned the corner and I just followed her, Hansen said. A big group of people followed us after. I followed her. People just kind of emerged by the door. By that time, she was stuck in the corner. She was literally trapped there, Hansen said. Babbitt, who served in the U.S. Air Force as a military police officer, was chatting with 3 officers from the U.S. Capitol Police and a Metropolitan Police Department. About 5 minutes prior to her getting shot and killed, all those officers Yetter and other officers in the hall, the MPD cops, they were all joking with her and laughing with her, Hansen said. They were having conversations, joking and laughing. Then, not even 5 minutes later, Michael Byrd comes and executes her. Babbitt confronted rioter Zachary Allam, leaning in between him and one of the police officers guarding the door. Allam turned away from Babbitt and punched a window to the side of the officer's head. Babbitt winces just before Allam strikes the window with his right hand. He later uses a helmet to smash the tempered glass. An audio analysis of the video taken in the hallway reveals Babbitt shouted, "Stop! No, don't wait!" according to her husband, Aaron Babbitt. After repeatedly forcing myself to watch the murder of my wife, I have come to my own conclusion that Ashley came to a point of realization that she was in a very bad situation and the police weren't acting appropriately to what she was witnessing, Aaron Babbitt told Epoch Times. I know my wife well. She's not destructive. She was not there to hurt anybody. As the 3 police officers moved away from the speaker's lobby's door, a U.S. Capitol Police Containment Emergency Response Team was coming up the stairs, responding to an erroneous police radio report of shots fired. Standing adjacent to the departing officers, Babbitt peers around them at men smashing the glass. Her expression is one of shock. She yells at the 2 rioters. Babbitt feared for her life, her husband said, so she climbed into the broken window to escape. Byrd shot her before she got more than partway into the window frame. The only way we'd ever know why Ashley felt the window was the only way out is if she had been detained by one of the countless police officers that abandoned their post in front of those doors, Babbitt said. That did not happen. She was murdered and robbed of the chance to tell her side of the story. Again, this is her husband telling the story, and I'm just reading it as they write it. And I'm not disputing it either, by the way. Hansen and Sullivan said they did not hear any warnings from inside the speaker's lobby before the shot was fired. The protesters were extremely loud. There were conflicting accounts from police officers on both sides of the barricaded door as to whether warning instructions were given before Byrd's shot fired on Babbitt. Sullivan was left to notice Byrd's service pistol was the first to notice Byrd's service pistol aimed at the window. He and Hansen both shouted warnings. I began yelling, "Hey, there's a gun. He's got a gun," Hansen said, but nobody could hear us. I could barely hear John Sullivan, and I was right next to him because people were screaming and the windows were breaking. Since there was a gun, I got on the ground because I didn't know what was going on, Hansen said. I figured I'm going to get as low as possible in case there's any ricochets or misfires or anything like that. I had my Kevlar vest on, which I always wear when I report. We tried to warn people and they couldn't hear us, and we were screaming, Hansen said. Allen broke out the side window to the right of the double doors because he intended to use it to breach the speaker's lobby, Hansen said. The only reason he didn't climb through before Babbitt, Hansen said, was his glasses got knocked down on his face and he stopped to readjust them. He was about to go through the window, Hansen said. It was his idea. He was the one shattering it. Babbitt said the situation shows how 2 people can look at the same video and reach completely different conclusions. It all comes down to which mental angle a person views it from. If they hate Ashley because they believe the lies, that's all they see her being part of the mob, Aaron Babbitt said. Us who love her know love her, know every action and emotion she is displaying. She realized a minute before her death she was not in a friendly situation and something was wrong was occurring. So there's more in here. They still never interviewed. They cleared Bird before they interviewed him. And that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. He should have been interviewed in this. Let's see. Do I want to? Nah, we're not going to watch this video. You can watch this on your own. I just, holy smokes. It was never a good situation, and I don't even know how to react to it because that story, I don't trust anybody on that story. But it seems certainly feasible if she was telling people to stop doing what they were doing. But, the video that we've all seen before, she does climb through the window, and Bird seems to be firing on someone who's unarmed and is no danger to him as of yet. They certainly could have attempted to detain her rather than firing. So and plus all the cops around them, there's no way that they didn't see those people, that response team there with shields. They shot on somebody with cops right behind her. It doesn't make any sense, but whatever. I just can't get into that anymore. Anyway, there's in the tabs today, just to tell you what's going to be in the tabs, there's always a few extra articles. One from American Thinker called The Dangerous Rhetoric of the Term Our Democracy, because Democrats seem to be using that word a lot lately. And if you think of The Princess Bride, they keep using that word, but I don't think it means what they think it means. And so, good article on that. There's also an article, an MIT educated doctor has been ordered to undergo a psych evaluation after prescribing ivermectin. In what city is that in? In Maine. The Maine Board of Licensure in Medicine voted to pull Dr. Meryl Nass's medical license for 30 days after accusing her of circulating misinformation about stupid 19. You'll have to read this one to believe it. We might show it tomorrow. There's also a great article in PJ Media, Exposed Progressive Democrats. Here, I'll put it right here. Exposed Progressive Democrats' Totalitarian Obsession in the COVID crisis. Yeah. Has anyone noticed that they tend to be a little bit authoritarian and totalitarian? Well, there's a good article about that in PJ Media. Also, grassroots group leads attack on Biden's vaccine mandate for federal workers. Apparently, there's some federal workers who are telling the Biden administration, hey, why don't you just go, go fuck yourself. Anyway, and so there's an article about their effort to do that. Also, let's see, in legal insurrection, apparently the Texas synagogue hostage taker. Everyone remember him? The guy that you're probably not going to hear about so much. Pretty soon, they're probably going to memory hole that whole situation. Well, he was under investigation by British MI5, supported a pro-Palestinian and jihadi causes. Shocker. Shocker for there. Also in PJ Media. Wolves and sheepdogs in Colleyville. This is... Anyway, I pulled this up. I can't remember where I was going to read it, but you can check it out. I got to go. So let me just say there's several articles that are interesting that I'll put in the link today. By the way, 4 red states recover all pre-recession jobs as many blue states are still lagging behind. Well, that's Texas, Arizona, Idaho, and Utah. Full recovery in their labor markets. Go figure. Anyway, let's see. We won't. I was trying to put something else. I'll drop these out of here. And that's it for today, people. It's time for me to go. I would like to thank you for joining me today. All the videos and articles that we went through today, plus the few bonus ones that I mentioned, will be in the tab and the link in the second paragraph in the description down below. I will update that during the intro, so if you want to stick around and click on that later, or you can always come back and try it again, just check it out. Please hit the like button before you go, and please share the stream before, during, and after every stream. If you're watching a replay, put a comment in the comment section so I know you're here. And finally, if you want to sponsor the show, PDawgKnight.live 24 hours a day. You don't have to give 30% to Susan during the show. You can do super chats at PDawgKnight.live or through YouTube super chats down there, and a couple other options in the description down below if you want to do it other ways. There's a plethora of options, but you know what? The greatest way to support this show is to share the show. Let people know that we're here and that you like me. You really, really like me. Whether you do or not, just tell me you like me. I don't care. Anyway, thanks everybody for another great day. We'll see you tomorrow, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central on the Morning Night Live. Thank you for being here. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.